you pouring into a person's life good things? Are you sharing with them good things? Or are you pouring confusion, discord? Are you angry? Are you what are you giving out? What energy are you giving? What are you doing to help people? That's basically sowing. You're sowing a seed every day, right?
Are you serving? Are you serving?
Basically, are you serving? And what are you serving up, right? And then you look and people say, I've done this. And same thing in church. So you go to church and they tell you to give, and things are going to be given to you. So you go and give for the purpose of getting back. That's not it. That's not it. But you go for that purpose and you give, and then you say, nothing happened. I've been giving for a year, nothing happened. That's not reaping and sowing.
Well, you should check this out. So I think I said it the other day, and I love it because it says, I read it, it says, you shouldn't serve to be seen.
Uh-oh.
You should be seen serving.
Uh-oh.
Think about that.
Uh-oh.
You shouldn't serve to be seen. You should be seen serving. Meaning that if you just putting the money in there just to get something back, that's the wrong intention.
Exactly.
And then because you're doing that, and then you say, well, hold on, nothing happened. Well, nothing ain't gonna happen because your intentions weren't there.
Well, and the Bible says about that, you've already got your reward. You did it. Why? So you could be seen. So
exactly. That's your reward. That's all you're gonna get.
You wanted to be seen, and you were seen, and there you have it.
You got it.
All right. And that's funny because people do that too.
Yeah.
They go around and they do things and they brag about how they did it, and then they're saying, okay, now I'm gonna get something. Now I'm gonna reap. You've already done it. Because of the reason you've done it. And that's why we have to be careful when we're doing something for someone else or just doing something, period. What are our motives behind that?
Yeah, you gotcha. So back in the early 2000s, I was doing a lot of driving. I was in the mortgage industry.
Wait, that's funny. The early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Think about that. Think about that. Think about the early 2000s.
Remember we thought the world was going to end?
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about.
How you going to turn the clocks over and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
You better get your sardine sausages, boy. This thing get ready to end.
Think about that. Man, we used to sit around and say, oh, it's 1990. Now we're not just talking about 2000, we're talking about early 2000. Man.
So the early 2000s, man, I was in the mortgage industry and I was driving all over the place.
Okay.
And I had a nice little 1990 Honda Accord. Matter of fact, 1990. Exactly. Matter of fact, and it's a 5-speed. So I was doing a lot of driving, so I had to, fix it up. I put a new clutch in that bad boy. I painted it back up, put some new tires on it, and it was just, boom, brand new, like it was brand new. But because I'm driving from Corona to Claremont to all the way to Westwood, I'm driving all over the place and I'm getting stuck in traffic. So there's a clutch. So my left foot, I'm in second gear, I'm in first gear.
Now I want you to know this right now.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't know what a clutch is.
Yeah, they don't do that. It's a 5.
They don't even do that no more.
It's a stick. I know.
They manually
change it in the gear. So I'm stuck on that 91. And I'm like this, man. Next thing you know, dude, this thigh is just sore. It's sore. So I tell my wife, I said, babe, I gotta get another vehicle. Because, shoot, I don't know what I'm gonna do to this leg. I keep doing this. So finally, I go down to Orange County. I find me a nice little truck or what have you. It's a 4-door truck. And I get there. And the Honda Accord, I just fixed it up and everything like that. I was just gonna trade it in and get the truck.
Right.
So at the time, the guy says, "Hey man, you can trade it in, but I give you 2,500." I'm saying to myself,
I paid 2,500 for the clutch.
I paid 25. I don't put too much money in this. I said, no worries. I said, I'll just sell it. I'll just sell it on my own. I'll just sell it to somebody else. So now I got to get. I bought the vehicle, the truck, but now I got to get the Honda back home. So I called my wife. I said, babe, I need you to come down. I'm in Bourne Park. I already bought the truck, but I need someone to drive the Honda back.
Right.
So now she got to drive a car down there. The kids were young, so they wasn't driving. So she had to bring her mom because we need this thing getting all tied up just because.
On one car.
On one car, yeah. And so her and her mom get down there. And so They drive it on back to the house, and I'm driving with my youngest son, Drew, and he's like, I think he's like 7, 8, something like that. They're real young. And so he looks at me and said, Dad, he said, man, that's a nice truck you got here. It's a beautiful truck. What you gonna do with the Honda? What you gonna do with the Honda? And I looked at her, and Kevin was just out of the blue. I just said, I'm gonna give it to Grandma. You gonna give it to Grandma? Oh man, I said, don't tell her though. Man, she gonna be so happy. She gonna be so happy. Because at the time, she didn't have a car.
Wow.
She didn't have a car. Grandma's my mother-in-law, Mary Hill. And so he said, you gonna give it to Grandma? I said, yeah, don't tell her, don't tell her. So we get back to the house and everything, and she's sitting on our sofa. You've been in the house. She's sitting on the sofa there. And she said, babe, that's a beautiful truck you got there. She said, that's a beautiful truck you got there. I said, yeah. I say, and that's a beautiful car you got. She looks, she said, I said, yeah, I'm giving you the car. And nobody knew other than Drew.
Right,
and my wife looked like,
giving her the car.
You giving her the car? I gave her the car. She didn't have a car. Man, she was so excited, dude. She was just crying. She went out there. I'll never forget this. She got the car. I took all the stuff out of there. She got the car. And she drove it to her son's house. Like it was a brand new car. They had to show him.
It's my brand new car.
It's a brand new car. Here's the thing. They had been seeing the car since 1990. So they knew what the car looked like, but she was just so excited. So excited. So, and it was just a spur of the moment thing. Didn't plan it. Wasn't doing it for all I thought about. I said, I can get $2,500 out of it, but I can get $3,000 out of it. But I don't put so much money into it. I'm still not gonna get. I'm not gonna get the value, and then I had sentimental value too.
Yeah.
Because I had driven this for so long. So that being said, man, probably now the kids, that time flies, and she's still driving it, enjoying it. And the funny thing about it, she was able to drive a stick because she had a stick previously, so she knew how to handle it. And so years passed, and all of a sudden the kids got to Corona High, going to Corona High. And one day, my cousin used to work out at Experience. Lloyd Parker, man, good dude. He's no longer with us, but man, I miss that guy, man. He was a real good cousin. And so he called me and him to check in every now and then. He said, what you doing? I said, man, I'm just sitting here at Corona parking lot. I'm trying to figure out what can I do to buy these kids a little, because now they're in high school, get them a little truck or something, get them a little car, so they can go back and forth, just something to get around Corona,
get around city,
and then give them a little responsibility. He said, that's a good idea, man, that's a good idea. So all of a sudden, man, we in that conversation, maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks passed, and he calls me. He said, hey, cuz, man, you want to hear something? I said, what's that? He said, my company is giving me a company car. I said, oh, man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a good thing. He said, yeah, but it's a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, now I'm gonna have 4 cars and only got 2 drivers. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, so here's what we're gonna do. I already talked to the wife. We're gonna give you the Land Rover. I said, really?
Wait,
Land Rover only had 17,000 miles on it. Hey, I said, 17,000. I say, what time y'all going to bed? What time y'all going to bed? I'll be down there right now.
I gave up a Honda manual.
Yeah, a manual.
Right? I gave up a manual Honda. And now I done got a Land Rover.
Yeah.
With 17,000. Brand new Land Rover.
17,000.
Man.
17,000. But the story keeps going on.
No.
Yeah, it keeps going. So I drove the Land Rover for years. And then all of a sudden my cousin, he passed. He was ill. He passed. And during his time, he was sick. I stayed close to him. He was living in Irvine. I stayed close to him. I walked with him through his illness. And I used to take him to his treatments and stuff like that on Sundays. And he was a fighter, man. He was a fighter. He passed on Sunday. He was a vice president for Experian Credit Report down there in Irvine.
Okay.
He passed on Sunday. He was tough. On Thursday, dude, he was still on his computer sending messages to his team. And he was in hospice.
Man.
That dude was, I mean, man, you talking about a tough guy. But they, you know, like the Bible says, it's not how long, how well.
How well.
And I sit back and I think about him.
How well.
Even though he got out of here early, but he did a lot in the time that God gave him.
Right.
So he passed, and then he had a couple cars. His wife had a couple. Then a couple went back to his mom. And also one day I'm in the backyard. My aunt, she calls me and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm in the back cleaning up, getting ready to cook some food or something." She said, "Hey, you know, you remember that Lexus that laundry you had?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Do you want it? I'm gonna give it to you." Like, I did in Arizona, Kevin. I'm thinking to myself, what time y'all going to bed? What time y'all going to bed? That's what I'm thinking to myself.
I planted
a Honda.
I planted the Honda several years back.
Exactly.
And so far, I've reaped a Land Rover and a Lexus. I planted one car and I got two cars.
Yeah.
And not only did I get two cars, but I got two cars better than I had. Better than what I had.
Yeah.
That's a long read.
That's a long read. That's
on a very positive side.
Exactly. And so, and it took me a little time. I think at one point, man, I almost felt kind of guilty. And I said, man, I feel kind of guilty. Someone giving me it's not like he giving me a bicycle or anything.
Right.
It's a car, but not only is it a car, it's a very expensive two very expensive cars.
Yeah.
And I'm still driving the Lexus right now. And so I felt guilty. Then all of a sudden it hit me. I said, hold on. You don't have to feel guilty because you did the same thing.
You did the same thing.
You sacrificed, you gave somebody else.
Albeit your seed was not
like that.
Not like those seeds.
not like that. So it and the story keeps going. So that's two, right?
It keep going.
So for years, man, I've always liked Jeeps.
Okay.
I always wanted to get a Jeep. Because we in Southern California, I used to tell my wife, babe,
let the top down.
Let the top down.
Drive along.
Oh, man, Southern California, it's 75 degrees, 80 degrees. With the top down here, man, just a beautiful time. And I had talked about it for so many years. And Tony says, my wife says, she said, babe, we're not getting a Jeep. She's
absolutely not.
Kevin, guys, I used to be looking on the website. I used to looking at Jeeps and stuff. I already had it dialed down what I wanted. I wanted a two-door.
Okay.
I wanted a two-door Jeep, and I wanted a stick.
Okay.
A manual stick.
Okay.
It's gonna be like
going back to the Honda.
Exactly. It's gonna be like a little toy, and that's what I used to look at them all the time. And when I noticed that, man, the values of the Jeep, man, they never went down. Those things, and you could see a lot of them, but the values never went down. I mean, I probably looked at Jeeps for probably maybe like 5 to 10 years, just on the website, just looking at them. And I'm thinking to myself, if I ever get some money, I'm gonna get me a Jeep. I'm gonna get me a Jeep. So, funny story, my father-in-law, Tony's dad, Tony Duplessis, he had a Jeep. Okay. He had an old Jeep, and he just put it in his, it's just sitting in his yard. Every time, he lived down in Poway, every time we go down there, you know, I'd be slobbing looking at the Jeep, you know. but it wasn't even running, he just had it sitting there. And for years, him and his wife would say, people just come by and say, put a note on the Jeep. I'd like to buy the Jeep for 15, 12, whatever it is.
Right.
Because, like I said, they don't lose their value. They don't lose their value. So, all of a sudden, he got ill. And my wife told him, said, Dad, you know, I like to get that Jeep. Mm-hmm. And knowing I know what she's doing. She wants a Jeep because she know I want the Jeep.
Yep.
And so he said, I can't give you that Jeep. Oh no, somebody else might want that Jeep. That's what he said.
Right.
But we found out after she asked for the Jeep, he had her stepbrother Ricky had him start to work on the Jeep. Had him take it to the shop, get it fixed up.
Because it wasn't driving.
It wasn't driving, just sitting there. Had him fix it up, and next thing you know, man, we go down there one day, and he tells us, hey, you guys go, this is about a year. He worked on it for about a year.
Okay.
He said, go in the garage and take a look at the Jeep. Dude, we go look at the Jeep. Man, the Jeep got a beautiful candy apple red paint on it.
Nice.
Everything. I'm talking about just everything just beautiful. And he always say, he always call people pal. He said, what you think about that, pal? Think about that, pal? I said, oh, Dad, that thing is clean. That thing is clean.
Right.
So we didn't think nothing of it. It's just a clean vehicle.
Okay.
All of a sudden, he was sick, and he passed. He passed, and probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks after he passed, matter of fact, we had COVID at the time. We couldn't even leave the house. 4 weeks after he passed, his wife, Tony's stepmom, she calls and say, hey, I'm calling you guys to let you know that I decided to give you guys a Jeep. Again, Kevin, I couldn't say what time you're going to bed because we had COVID. And that's when COVID was really, that's when it first started. We couldn't even leave the house. And Tony was like, she said, oh man, oh, thank you. And so we got over COVID though. We shot down there and got that thing. So, but the ironic part about that one is that Tony and I met in 1987.
Okay.
The Jeep is a 1987. But it's almost like God said, boy, you're gonna get your Jeep. Don't worry about it. I've been holding on to this thing.
I've been holding on to it for a minute.
For a minute for you. You're gonna get the Jeep. But I mean it all started from, like you said, a seed. It all started from that one seed. And I did it. And it was a funny thing. It was like God working through me and said, what are you going to do with this Honda Accord? And I just had to spur of the moment, not thinking about it, just say, you know what? My mother-in-law don't have a car. Just going to give it to her mother. And didn't think nothing about it. Didn't even worry about it. Think nothing about it.
Some people say, well, that was impulse. Some people say that was an urging of the spirit. But either way, you followed that, whether people say it was a hunch.
Exactly.
You followed it, but the key was you're not looking for nothing from it. And you sure wasn't expecting any of that to happen, right? So you give a car, so you dig a hole, you put a car seat in, and it's not always like that.
No, I don't have to. I don't
want to say it's always like that. It's not always like that.
No.
But the idea is, in your situation, you gave away a car. You planted a car, and when the tree came up, it said, here's one branch, here's one car, here's another branch, here's another car, and here's another branch, here's another car.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang out with you because you probably have another car soon.
Another car coming.
Look, because you're going to have a bunch of cars, you ain't going to need all of them.
I know, exactly.
You keep giving away.
Well, and I sit back now and I think about it, and I've thought about it over the years, and the joy that it brought my mother-in-law when I gave her the car was priceless for me. It was rewarding.
You couldn't have got that.
Just to watch her excitement. And the funny part, because she lived around here in Corona, and she used to be at the football games, football practices, and I sometimes just see her in the little Honda car. And it made me smile.
Yeah, you got to see the car.
You got to see the car, and it was.
You got to see her. You got to see the car. You got to see her in the car.
In the car, it was.
She was enjoying the car almost as much as you did.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful thing.
And you got to see that for some years, and you couldn't have bought that.
No, you can't.
You're right. That was priceless.
That was priceless, man. It's always That's why they say it's better to give than receive, because when you're giving with the right intentions, that feeling that you get, you can't get that feeling if your intentions are right.
Well, you won't get the same feeling had you sold the car.
Exactly.
Even if you just sold the car for $5,000,
I'll spend that money quick.
You just would have, you just would have wrote it off to somebody. They'd have took it. You probably never saw the car again, never saw the person again. You just took that $5,000. You just would have spent the money, and that would have been the end of it. Because then there's nothing behind it. It's just transaction. I'm done with it. That's not what happened, though. It's not what happened. You handed the car off to a person that you saw the person all the time. You saw the car all the time. You saw the person in the car. That's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. It made me think, all of this, a lot of times we're going through this world.
Yeah.
And people think they own things. We don't own nothing. We just renting everything. We just renting everything while we're here. because at the end of the day, I thought about it when I think about my father-in-law, I think about my cousin-in-law, Junior, and at the end of the, they were renting those things while they were here. Same thing with me. I'm basically renting those things while I'm here.
We're stewards.
Mm-hmm.
You're stewards of the things that come into your life, even people. And that, people have friends. You ever know people have friends and they don't, I don't know if guys do it so much, no offense to women, but people have friends and they don't want their friends to be friends with these people. You hoarding your friends even. You shouldn't do that. I mean, because like you said, everything that we get is just leased to us. We're stewards over it. If it's given to you, whether you buy it, it's really not yours. You hear at the funerals, you can't take it with you.
You sure ain't gonna
and
take it
we hear that, but we don't pay attention to it. You can't take it with you.
No, you ain't gonna take it with you.
Ain't nothing going with you. And it's sad that we don't understand how to share more and just be more of a smaller part of a larger community of people on the planet, because sharing things helps everybody. It helps you. It helps everybody. And we just don't do that enough. We are the people. We are most of the people on the planet. It is get what you can what you get, and then put a lid on your can.
Say, I'm gonna get mine.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get mine.
I'm gonna get mine.